Oh, that, like I said, I sort of laughed a little bit about some of these, and the siren was one of them. All it is you press that button and it goes, rear, rear, rear. You know, that's all it does is just gives you a sound. Like, I'm not too sure the use case, there must have been something, but it's just part of it. I think it's just so they can add it to their feature set. You know, it wasn't really that, so they're not controlling your phone or anything like that, so they're not gonna silence everything or anything like that.
That's just individual user run keypad there, it's not, there's not a remote siren that you mentioned.
No.
Fire drill, it's not gonna go off as a siren.
No, so, well, every alert has its own, sound that can come out, so so I guess I missed that, so, every event, you can decide how the phone app is going to react. So in the active shooter, you know, it'll just, I'm sure most of you have had like an Amber Alert or a weather alert that comes through, especially with the tornadoes recently. And your phone just pretty much, no matter if you have it vibrate or not, it's gonna be super loud and you're gonna know it. That's what this does. They have that feature built into the phone. So it's going to, no matter your settings, it's going to alarm. We can set what kind of alarm comes out of that, but it's pretty much gonna be full volume. It's gonna be, look at your phone right now, and that's what's gonna happen. Now we can go and say, no, we don't wanna do that for say a medical alert, and we want to do something more soft or something. I don't know, but active shooter, fire, yeah, those are gonna be very loud in your face.
So this is very much a serious question. I'd like to know if you could shut those pings off, because as I said, you've got a teacher in a room with kids, or maybe the teacher's in a closet with the kids. She doesn't want anybody else to know that they're in there.
Yep.
And if the rest of the district starts pushing alerts.
Yeah. So that's actually a feature because of the reason you're talking about. So for active shooter, that is turned on by default for that profile. Once the alert is silenced for the first time from your phone, because obviously you probably picked it up and looked at it, after that, no other sounds come from this app. Like, it's not gonna control the rest of your phone, but no other phones. So even if there's messages and things like that, they'll come up and they'll show you on the phone, but they're not going to make any sounds because of that reason.
But it will the first time.
The first time, everybody's phone goes off at the same time because that's the alert. You wanna know about it, you wanna know that you're supposed to hide in place and all that, or run for the hills. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
What triggers that? So first of all, this app is only to staff, or did the law require that students have the ability to also report?
It is not for students at this time.
Okay. So that wasn't part of it. It's not a requirement of the law that students have the ability. Okay. And since we don't contractually require staff to carry cell phones, what happens to that? And I know some rooms don't get cell service in our building.
Yeah, so this app works over Wi-Fi. We have.
You have to be logged into that Wi-Fi.
You have to be logged into the Wi-Fi. That is definitely an issue. So, one of the things that we are, obviously you can't do everything at once. So it's a phased approach. This is what we're going to do to try to satisfy the law as much as possible. We want full coverage. So I did show you, I sort of skipped over it, but one of the things that this company is able to do, which is pretty advanced, is they actually, I can build this network that's not part of our Wi-Fi. It's using a different a wireless technology. And what it will do is it works with the cell phones, and it will also work with other devices, such as like a lanyard with a push button emergency. And it will be able to track the location of either that lanyard or your phone or anything like that without Wi-Fi at all. And it can actually trigger the response with a separate network. So even if you're on, say, Verizon, and you're deep in the high school and it doesn't quite work, you press the button in Crisis Go, it's gonna use this system and go out. But we wanna make sure that this system is right for our school district, and without a rollout, to then build a whole network based on this one application, and is it gonna suit our needs? We didn't wanna make that investment and make a mistake. So this is sort of another option, and that's why I like this company, is because they have so many options.
And then, so if someone did open the app, slide, how does the person across the building know that there's an emergency?
So every single person with that application, that's gonna go off at the same time. The beep, with the notification, it opens up that chat channel.
But only opens up the chat channel between the person that swiped and the, I'm talking about.
Correct, they're going to get an alert that, it's big red and it says alert. See, these are released, but I don't think I have one of the, it looks a lot like this, and it says alert, and it then says active shooter, and then gives you the playbook, essentially, what they call it, which is really your checklist of things to do, like, for that event. The other thing that we can do, because I said the PA system is integrated, we can make that announcement over the PA to whatever response that is. I don't know if that's appropriate or not for this, but that is something that we can integrate in the future. We're working on the PA response right now for the fire, at least.
And for an active shooter, once that alert goes out, the building principal or other administrator should be getting on and saying, lockdown, lockdown, lockdown.
Yeah, so that will be part of it very soon. We'll have all the PAs integrated into the system, and that lockdown would automatically happen as soon as somebody triggered it. So PA would be locked down, your phone would go really loud and have that alert, and then also all the doors would lock.
So a teacher without a phone, which sounds silly, but I know there's some, I know in particular it doesn't carry. They're gonna have to rely on that overhead speaker system.
That's what we do now.
Right. And when the lockdown, when that system closes, puts our building in lockdown mode, will that teacher's badge already be back in the room?
The way the lockdown works now is that all the doors are locked. I don't, do you remember, Mike?
So if we go into a lockdown, the card is disabled, anybody's card is disabled, except for executive privilege, which is a police officer.
So, okay, so if you are in the hall, you're walking back from a class with your teacher with her class, lockdown hits you, that teacher has no way to get into her room or anyone else's room unless they allow that, unless they're let them in.
Right.
And so when the lockdown happens also, teachers are instructed to go and check the bathrooms quick. As soon as the lockdown hits, that magnet releases, that door closes, that teacher is now locked out of their own room. So that's what I got no problem with. It's a dangerous situation, not only for the teacher, but for the kids, anyone in that hall. And I know it's not part of this system, but it's a default, it's a defect with the system we have right now, that they're locked out of their own rooms and they cannot get back in. Even if we had it for, 2 or 3 minutes, you're allowed to get back into your room. Cause that person, they went out to check that bathroom to make sure it was clear, and those students were left in the hallway. Now they cannot get back in the room, or they just happen to be in the hall when that magnet released, they can't get back in the room. Now they're sitting ducks in that hallway. So you follow what my position is?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I know that's how it is right now.
Yes, that is.
Gone through this. On yours, what's the other question? So do you have to have either Wi-Fi or active cell service to use it? Are we still going to instruct our staff, which the whole world knows, see an emergency, call 911. I don't think we should be telling our staff, see an emergency, grab your phone, hit your app, open the app, slide it across.
So this is for active shooter right now.
Well, any kind, I'm still, even if it's an active shooter, my mind says everyone should be instructed, call 911. You can do that after the fact if you want, but get 911 on the phone. That should be a second step, in my mind.
Just don't lock the building down quick enough, or notify everybody else.
See, the
Call
problem,
911. You might say, if you and I are together, you know, initiate the app and call 911,
Or you can
something
do
like
both.
that.
You can do both at the same time,
Right,
that's the step.
right.
But you don't open up a communication line, a true voice communication line with the dispatch. The dispatch has no way to know exactly what's going on. Because if they're gonna get an automated phone call, that's, as a dispatcher, that is useless to them.
Well,
They need to hear, and now, with, at least with Ontario, they can see with the phone. That dispatcher can now activate their camera on that phone and see what's going on in that room, which is, to me, a much better response than, I mean, you can do this too, but I don't want people,
Well,
I
then-
think they should not call 911.
remember that the second option I said for 911 was that you initiate this active shooter, it immediately then brings up call 911.
So they can do it on their phone.
Yeah.
Soon.
So that's the other option. There's two options for 911. One is to make the automated call from the system. The reason, you know, I was thinking that was a benefit was because now we don't have good cell phone coverage everywhere, in all our buildings. But to your point, you know, opening up that 911 call there's definite benefits to that. So, but you would get all the other automations and it would initiate that call, even if it didn't call out to 911 for that E911, or the automated piece, and say you didn't have a connection, then I don't know.
Yeah, I just, there's
Yeah.
so many I don't knows about this,
Yeah.
that I don't like it. I mean, you have to do it, but.
Yeah, I know, but that's the thing, I mean, we have to do what's in the law. There are the two options for dialing 911, we can go with either one. I mean, we do have coverage for a cell phone call, and I would say, you know, if you took the entire district, it would be, you know, high 90s of rate of where you could actually make a call, but.
Can you tie this into our phone system in the building? So, if something did happen in a classroom, a teacher would pick up phone, right now they put the phone down, 911 or down the office.
Yeah.
Is there a way to activate this system through our wired phone system?
Yeah, you mean to, if somebody dialed 911, the problem is you don't know why they dialed 911.
Right, but I'm saying, this here is activated through a touch and swipe.
Yeah,
Is there a way to have this particular product activated with a phone by pressing a certain series of numbers?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can activate, it integrates both ways with really anything. So like I said, you can hit a little, you know, hidden button at a receptionist desk and it can automatically trigger one of the, you know, alerts.
For that
So if you
feature.
could do that I could set that up with an extension on a phone, on any phone. They dial that secret extension and it kicks off one of these events. Say it's a medical emergency, or it doesn't have to be an active shooter. So definitely there's options there, but like you said, you know, you're in a panic. The only thing you remember is dialing 911. Hopefully you'll remember this too, but either way, at least 911's called. This one has benefits in the fact that it does more. That's.
The teacher with no phone or no cell or not in the Wi-Fi, if they can touch a button on that phone, to me, that seems like a good option.
You saying the classroom phone, the classroom phone?
Classroom phone, yeah. Because, again, we've got buildings, you got rooms with no cell service. People don't carry their phone physically on them, the teacher might have had a dead battery, might have left it in their car. They'll use that phone in the room to call 911. Can they use that phone in the room also then activate the crisis call system?
I don't know if that would, I mean, that'd be an additional feature, I don't know if it would help us be compliant with the law though, would it?
Not really. I mean, you're supposed to have it available to every staff, like sort of on them. That's why the cell phone feature is really helpful. And not necessarily every room has phone available, most do. But, you know, what if you're a maintenance person in the boiler room or something like that? That's sort of what we're looking at for some of these other additional add-ons in the future, is to fill in those gaps. You know, another one that is a definite concern, and we went around and around on how to fix this, was substitutes. You know, you're not going to enroll substitutes that work once in a great while into the system so that they can trigger an emergency, you know, but are we gonna be able to like give them a temporary lanyard for the day, and then they basic information, you press it 7 times and it triggers active shooter? That might be a possibility, but you need this network to know where that lanyard is, because obviously it could be in any room. It doesn't have that GPS, you know, capability with like the phone. So there's still unknowns. The nice thing about this software that we have chosen, obviously I've shown you, it can do a whole bunch of different things, sort of a Swiss Army knife, and for emergencies. And we'll keep get those gaps filled for substitutes, for people that don't have their phone, who aren't willing to use their phone, but we're needing to do something to address the law. A lot of districts are just having a basic app that just does this and doesn't have any other integrations, and that's what they're saying, okay, that we've filled the requirements. We just wanted to be able to do more than that. Especially because if you're going to already dial 911, why not trigger the PA? Why not trigger the door locks? Things like that we were gonna do anyways. It's just that we had to communicate in back channels to be able to say, hey, can somebody lock the doors? Hey, somebody make an announcement. All that stuff takes time. And these aren't things you wanna spend time at.
Dan, that was really helpful, thank you. I wonder if it would be helpful to us to maybe have a follow-up in the fall after it's rolled
Yeah.
out, and we've
Yeah.
sort of experimented with it. We could add that to the calendar at some point. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's really helpful.
Thanks, Dan, and, should have said, our capital project vote is beautiful outside, you do not have to
Yeah.
stay.
No, I
You should have
just-
done before
sitting
Dan
there.
presented,
If
but
that had been
anyone
a
interrupted.
lighthearted presentation, I would have said we would go, but I didn't feel right doing it. Thank you so much, we really appreciate it. Sorry we didn't catch it sooner. Yeah, have a good night. All right, Matt, you're up, right?
We have a smile wolf when Matt goes up there, we have this lighthearted, we can have a smile on.
You said the bar high, John, I think, people overdosed before. This is gonna be good afternoon, everybody. So I'm here to review, our administrative team learning and activities in the summer. This has probably been the busiest summer of my professional career. We have had so much going on, it's great stuff. We've had any ranges of changes of our administrative team. Teachers have been collaborating for, multiple days. There's been curriculum writing. Tomorrow we're gonna have about 40 people in this room for the full day between teacher leaders and administrators working together to set the stage for the school year. It's really great and exciting stuff, but it has been incredibly time consuming.